a system is being set up and we're being told it's for our safety and our security, but actually it's for our enslavement. And in this video, we're going to be finding out what's happening with this system around the world.
Take the first step towards online privacy. Get NordVPN.
Got crypto? Got a hardware wallet to keep your crypto safe? Then you have to have one of these to keep your seed phrase safe. The Keystone tablet is fireproof, waterproof. You can use it to store 12-word, 18-word, 15-word, 24-word seed phrases. It comes with a full set of letters and everything you need to make sure that your seed phrase never gets destroyed or disappeared. Get one, get two, get three, have multiple copies. Use my affiliate link in the description below.
Before I introduce my guest, Efrat, who's back on again, please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, CryptoRichYT. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please come over to bit.ly/CryptoRichSpeak. That's 3speak.tv, fully censorship resistant. And you may also watch my stuff on Odyssey, bit.ly/CryptoRichOdyssey. And I've got my Telegram announcements channel in the description below. And Efrat, you are coming to Netherlands in October to speak about Bitcoin. We're not going to be talking about Bitcoin. You will be talking about Bitcoin. And this is our second video because we talked about the Global Financial Summit and their solution, which is CBDCs. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself and what you do and your links and everything?
Sure. So I'm an independent journalist. I became a journalist in the past few years when the lies were too big and the mainstream media was failing at doing its job. So I had to step into that void. I'm actually a chief marketing officer. Formerly, I worked for the past 20 years in global companies, creating marketing strategies and marketing campaigns and helping corporations make money. That was my thing. I still do that. I have my independent business for marketing with a wonderful marketing community of CMOs like myself in Israel with 150 CMOs. But I became a journalist full time in order to spread the truth and to make people more aware, and also to be able to answer questions to Israelis that are not so exposed to information from around the world because of the language barrier. Many people in Israel don't speak English, and with my English, I could deliver the news and be that kind of channel that brings in some of the truth into the awakened community in Israel. So I write for a newspaper called Bereshit, which means Genesis, and it's an uncensored newspaper. And I write on my Substack. You can follow me on Twitter as well. On Telegram, I have a channel, and on any other social media because I'm a marketeer. And I'm looking for my new house for when I'm going to be censored from Twitter. I'm already shadow banned, I think, and I can feel it. So I need my new home. So I'm now starting to try Noster. Let's see if I get people to join me there.
And I invite you to look at 3speak.tv as well.
Yeah, for sure. I will look at 3speak.
Fully censorship resistance.
And upload my videos there. I do have a podcast called You're the Voice where I interview interesting characters that speak the truth and fight this fight. My recent interview is with the member of the European Parliament, Christine Anderson. So it's going to come out in about a week. You can watch that episode on Twitter and on Spotify. And yeah, so that's what I do. And I'm interested in so many topics, money and finances and economics being one of them. I've always been a curious creature. And now when I'm a journalist, I can just do that. I can just read and watch videos and learn about different things that I didn't have the time to learn before. Another topic that I really like is health. And I've been covering that since COVID started. So, I had a good excuse to go into health. So I've interviewed many doctors and revealed a lot of the truth about the scientific community and the journals and how the whole system works, the health system works around the world. But now I think we're here to discuss CBDC, which is central bank digital currency, which is a topic that I really like covering because there is so much information about it out there from the sources themselves, from the governments, from the central banks of the different governments. I mean, it's all out in the open now. So it's very easy to learn what they're doing and to reverse engineer it and to understand what they already have in place, what kind of infrastructure they've already built, and what their plans are. And plus, with my expertise, I can read the landscape, the marketing landscape, and see what kind of campaign they're preparing for us coming up. They're actually saying it. I mean, at least the Central Bank of Israel has declared in a about 50-page document, which I've read, their strategies to create acceptance for CBDC when they roll it out, and to create a network effect. They want to create like virality of the new currency when it comes out. So I read the whole thing and I understand what kind of work they're doing now, which goes to show that they're in a quite advanced stage of the project already, because they are thinking about the go-to-market strategy, how they are bringing the product into the market, making the public adopt it, creating acceptance for it. And they have different tactics. And I'm sure you won't be surprised when I tell you that their tactics are very, very similar to the adoption tactics of the vaccines during COVID. Like this, it's very similar. It starts nicely, and slowly it deteriorates to being more forceful and mandating, and bringing bringing fines and taxing and things like that. So they're laying it all out. It's
Let me,
all
let me, let me
out there
just
in their documents.
let me just stop you there, right? I want to come back
Yeah.
to how it starts nicely and then it gets more and more nastier and nastier, right? Um, Before that, because you and I did a video which I posted a few days before about the financial summit in Paris, and one of the solutions that they said to this terrible financial shock that they're really setting up and engineering is CBDCs. And so this is the follow up to that when talking about CBDCs. Now, when you say that they're starting off really, really nice and stuff, as a child protection social worker, we're talking about grooming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're groomed, and I saw it with the COVID, with how we were groomed. We were groomed by abusive governments. So now
Yeah.
they're going to groom us to use this CBDC. Now, I'm really interested in how they're going to market it out, right? So we can break that down. But what is wrong first? What is wrong with the central bank digital currency? It's convenient. You don't have to carry cash around and pick up
It's
dirt.
fast,
It's
right?
fast, right?
Yes.
And
It's
then
direct.
it's direct, and then also my wife can see whether I
It's
whether I
secure because it's the government.
governments would never ever do anything evil or nefarious. I can't think of one example where governments have ever betrayed or abused their. Oh, I can't carry on. Sorry.
Right. So what's wrong about it? Well, what's good about it is what you just said, but what's bad about it is the fact
Well,
that
actually, let's say, what is a central bank digital currency?
so central bank digital currency, it's not the right word for it, currency, because it's not currency, it's technology. It's a form of technology that allows a central entity to control every transaction that happens on the blockchain. It's a blockchain technology. And basically, each government has taken some form of a crypto technology that either they have adopted something that existing or they've developed it from scratch, but they have a few characteristics or features of the system that exists in any CBDC implementation, and they are those three. One is the ability to program your money, so to say what the money will be used for. A bit like coupons or vouchers, to say, let's say 20% of your digital wallet is going to be for energy use or petrol or oil and gas, and 10% will be for food, and 20% will be for whatever, taxes. And so they can program the purpose of your money and tell you that this is the only thing you can use that money for. So they are basically making decisions for you on what you use your money for, and you can't repurpose that money for something else. So that's the first feature. The second feature is expiry date. So they are able to tell you in your digital CBDC wallet how much time you have to use for a certain quota or a chunk of CBDC money that they give you. So expiry date, after that date, it's not relevant anymore. So let's say, we're giving you a gift now because it's the beginning of the campaign. You're getting a 500 pounds of CBDC in your digital wallet from us. But the catch is you have to use it within 10 months or by the end of the year, because after that, it's not valid anymore. And the third thing is they can just switch it on and off whenever they want, as we've seen in Canada, where they've switched on and off bank accounts of people who have protested in the Freedom Convoy. It wasn't CBDC, it was normal banking.
Yeah.
But they still gave the order to the banks to switch it off and to lock the money and to lock the accounts and to seize the money. So they can do that built in within the capabilities of CBDC when
Yeah.
it rolls out.
And just to make it clearer for people who watch my channel, because I do cover crypto quite a bit, right? I started off as a crypto channel. If I send you, say, Pirate Chain, I send it to your address. One is I don't know who you are. I just got your address. And then I can't see what's inside your wallet. I don't know what you're going to do with that money, whether you're going to spend it and where you're going to spend it. It's completely invisible. It's even like if I give you cash, right? I give you cash. Okay, I have to see you in person to give you the cash.
Yeah.
Then after that, I don't know what you're going to do with it. The difference with this, right, is okay, I give you the Pirate Chain or this CBDC digital currency, and you want to spend it there. No, you're not allowed to. You
No.
can't spend it too much. You've had too much meat. Too much meat.
So too much meat there. For example, in New York, the mayor is saying that they have to interfere with people's consumption habits now. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, and he's saying that because of climate change, we have to tell the New Yorkers how much meat they can buy and they cannot buy, and they're going to monitor it on a dashboard to tell them what their quota is, and they're going to have personal carbon credits that they can use for meat. And if they have reached their quota, they'll either be able to buy more credits. So that's another feature of the system where you basically incentivize people that have more money than poorer people that cannot afford it. They are probably going to allow trade within the system as well of credits, of carbon credits, right? So if you're ran out of your credit, you'll be able to buy from poorer people that want to sell it to you. To me, it reminds me of other things that people sell in order to, just get by. It's really sad. But I want to give the example of Thailand, because Thailand now has released a new campaign where any citizen older than 16 with a digital wallet app on their phone, this is CBDC project, right, would receive $280 worth of CBDC. However, they have to spend it within 6 months, and also, I forgot to say that, within a 4-kilometer radius of their residence. So they can also set up where you're going to spend it, not just when, but where. What's the geographical limitation? Just like you watching a Netflix video in your country is allowed in your country, but not in another. They can do geo-blocking of content. They can do the same with money now. So it's crazy. And this is in Thailand, and we were talking about rolling it out and the marketing tactic behind it. So listen to this quote: "The digital wallet rollout should start with low income earners." How convenient, right? With low income earners. It could then be, because someone who doesn't have any money, who wouldn't want to take $280 worth of
Thailand, that's
high money? That's a lot of money for poor people. So look how evil they are to give it to people that don't have money, because they will take it, they will adopt it. It could then be expanded to entrepreneurs and small businesses on condition that they are registered in the tax system. Because many people in Thailand are not registered in the tax system. They work in the markets, they work on the streets, they don't have money, so that's one of their ways to try and bring in the people to adopt the system. They will give them free money so that they will come in and use it. It's called I forgot the name of the tactic in product marketing, where you enroll people into your system.
Is it
It's
bribery?
the onboarding.
Bribery, grooming?
Onboarding. Well, it's grooming, but in the tech world, it's called onboarding. This is
Right.
your onboarding strategy. This is how you make them on board. So Thailand is a good example because it's happening right now. We know that there are other countries around the world that have launched already CBDCs, around 11 countries that have launched CBDCs. For example, China, which was the first one 2 years ago, Russia, Japan, Bahamas. And a good example maybe is Nigeria, because in Nigeria they have rolled out CBDC, which is called e-Naira. That's the name of the project, and it completely failed. I think it started about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and the citizens, of course, they gave them some free money to begin with, but the citizens didn't trust it because they don't trust the government, luckily. And what we saw, so it completely failed. And what we saw there is a major adoption of Bitcoin. They went into Bitcoin and they said, fuck you. In the middle, in Nigeria, they tried to swap the fiat currency system into new bills. And it also didn't, and they made like a big hurdle for the public to take out cash and to take the money that they deserve, because they were trying to onboard them onto the CBDC platform, but the people just resisted and they started using Bitcoin, and obviously people are suffering there. It's not an easy place to live in. But how convenient to start that in poorer countries, in third world countries, and to have them as guinea pigs of this
Is it still going
technology.
in Nigeria, the e-Naira?
Yeah, it is, but it's not doing well. In China, they're also struggling. I don't know why. The reason is that they're not succeeding, because Chinese do love doing everything through their phones or the WeChat app. So I don't know why they're not succeeding with CBDC. Maybe I need to investigate more about it, but maybe it's because there is a competition between CBDC and the other payment service providers like WeChat, because
Mhm.
WeChat is very, very strong in China. But in China, they have tried so many things, like giving them free money, but also giving them gifts. And during the holiday seasons, they gave them free coupons on CBDCs. They really tried many, many tactics to get them to adopt it, and it's not really working well. It's been there for about 2 years in China. However, the more alarming thing is that we have more than 110 countries around the world that are currently experimenting on CBDCs. They have pilots running. So they haven't rolled it out officially, but they have implemented it, and they're trialing out on different projects. So for example, in Israel, where I live, the Israeli bank has already announced 3 successful pilot programs that have been completed and publicized on global stages like the World Economic Forum, for example. One project is called Project Eden, which is the first digital bond on a government blockchain infrastructure, which is in line with the digital shekel. Shekel is our currency. The second project is called Sela, which is retail CBDC with Hong Kong and with the Hong Kong Central Bank and with the Bank of International Settlements, the BIS. It's under the BIS umbrella. And a third project is called Icebreaker, which is again retail CBDC for international transfer. It's a project between Israel, Denmark, and Sweden to prove that we can swap CBDCs between the 3 countries seamlessly, fast, It's working. The governor of Bank of Israel said in January 23 in his speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos that we are in the midst of a technological revolution in payment systems with the help of CBDCs for public good. While he refers to the achievements of this project, the Project Icebreaker.
Spoken like a true groomer. This is for your
Yes,
good.
yes, completely. And he's saying that while the people of Israel have no fucking clue what CBDC is. They don't even know what it is. There is no education of the public as to the digital shekel and what it is. Yes, the Central Bank of Israel is issuing all those documents from time to time that probably me and another handful of people in Israel are reading, and that's it. But people don't know what it is. No TV anchor on prime time is telling the public what the digital shekel is. So here we go, the governor of the Bank of Israel sitting on the stage in Davos, showing off this marvelous project that we've now completed. And we're in the midst of a technological revolution for the public good, and we don't even have a fucking clue about it.
Mm.
And people are not prepared. And they don't have their money in the right places. They still have all their money in fiat currency, losing its value on pension funds and, and inflation and mortgages, etc. And the interest rate is just going up and up. And they have no fucking clue how to invest their money in Bitcoin, crypto, gold, silver, etc. And he's there showing off at the miracle that is about to come. So that's CBDC in Israel. We have also a project called mBridge, which is the kind of replacement of the SWIFT system, the international system of replacing money, of transferring money between countries. It was a project that was done between 20 banking regulators and commercial banks from Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates, and 16 other countries. And the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. And mBridge is really it's showing you that there is an alternative for SWIFT. So even if the US dollar is collapsing, let's say it's going to happen and it's not going to work anymore, and the BRICS countries have to trade between them, and they want to trade in other currencies rather than the dollar, they can now adopt this CBDC, this wholesale CBDC. Called mBridge, to transfer money between the different central banks.
Right.
So it's like creating an alternative for them. So the BIS, look how beautiful that is, how they're playing all playing fields, the BIS and the IMF. They're like helping everyone, right? That we're not just with the hegemony of the US and the UK and the US and all the strong Western countries. We're also helping the BRICS group, and we're providing them with the right technology that they may need when they swap to CBDC. BIS is like the good guy; it's helping everyone.
The groom of groomers, which is the central bank of central banks.
That's right.
Now, are there any countries that have said no CBDC?
Yeah, there are actually, and I'm gonna name them. But just before that, to show you what the BIS has said already in 2020, when COVID started, the head of the BIS, his name is Augustin Carstens, he said CBDC allows us to have complete control, and we have the mechanism to enforce it.
Yeah.
So they're like admitting it. You don't have to hide it anymore. Yeah, some countries that are trying to fight back with regulation are in the US, Florida, as we've mentioned before. So Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has said that have passed a bill that it would not allow CBDC in Florida. South Dakota, the governor of South Dakota, her name is Kristi Noem. She's a fighter. She's a good one.
That's interesting, because South Dakota didn't have any lockdowns either. They didn't.
Yep.
I don't think they even did a first lockdown.
Yep, South Dakota, Texas, Florida. There were a few others, but they're the lead. They were the leaders. All Republicans. It's funny. It's all Republicans, conservatives. So Texas also has a law against CBDC now, and the presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said that if he is elected, he's going to also ban CBDCs in the U.S., which again it's not a state, but it's a good declaration. It's a good thing to bring it up to the public discussion and the public awareness by just saying that. So that's what we're seeing in the U.S. now. I don't know of any other country outside of the U.S. that have pushed back on CBDCs yet. I do know that Austria has recently suggested an amendment into their constitution to keep cash always legal, which is an interesting development. It's something that we haven't seen in other places. They basically don't want the politicians to be able to abolish cash ever. So that's a good. It's an okay development. I mean, it's better than nothing. Yeah, but all the rest of the examples I have, unfortunately, are of countries that are adopting it or in the race to adopt it. A very surprising development recently was in Canada, actually. And Canada, as we know, is one of the worst countries at the moment. So despite the fact that the Bank of Canada issued a paper in the end of 2021, which they called the positive case for CBDC, in which it lays out the reasons to launch CBDCs, it has now published another paper which casts doubt on CBDC value, which is strange. It's really strange. The paper's authors note that most Canadians do not experience gaps in their access to a range of payment methods, and this would probably continue to be the case in a cashless environment. In my opinion, this could be a tactic on behalf of the Canadian Central Bank to normalize the use of existing payment methods as their mediator for CBDC. Because this is one of the things that the Israeli Central Bank has admitted. They have said in their recent document that they would not necessarily try to go direct to consumer, direct to you, to adopt CBDC, because then they have the problem with the banks. They have a competition in the banks. So they will they will adopt a two-tier tactic. They're basically wholesale CBDC to the banks and financial service providers or companies, and then retail the CBDC to the end customer, so that banks are still in the loop and they don't have a problem with them. And the other thing that they said in the document is that they will adopt currently existing financial solutions like Google Pay and Apple Pay, or any payment apps that the country is already using. In Israel, we have 2 apps like that we're using, and they're going to put the CBDCs in the background, behind the scenes. So for you, the end user, it will be transparent. You won't even know. Before, it was, the normal BDC, the digital cash that you were using, that the banks are using, and now it's CBDC, but you don't even know it. That's
Right.
the infrastructure behind the scenes. So I think what Canada is trying to do is to say it's okay to keep using your existing payment methods, however it is that you like using your credit card, your Google Pay, Apple Pay, your apps. It's okay to continue using it. What we're going to do is silently replace the infrastructure behind the scenes to CBDC, so it's no hassle for you, dear customer. Right? I
Right.
think that's where they're going. That's my suspicion.
That it could be that, except and then once that gets exposed, okay, it won't have the same
Once they gets exposed, they will try to give the excuse that it's, safe and effective and you don't have to be worried. But then gradually and slowly, they'll bring in the restrictions of you have to use it, and small businesses have to adapt it. Otherwise, we will fine them, and many other, gems that are waiting for us that they've
and
laid out in their document.
the other thing that they may be doing, and I saw this with the lockdowns, and is how groomers work. They push a little and then pull back. Push a
Yes.
little bit more and then pull back. Push a
Mhm.
little bit more and then pull back.
Yeah.
But it could also be that. Okay, and how do you think it's going to work out once CBDCs are in place?
Well, it's hard for me to say. I know a lot of smart people around me are saying, just like you said before about the Great Reset, that it's not going to work. They're saying the CBDC is not going to work either. They're saying that people are, they still want their privacy on their money, and they
But
want to
wait a minute,
hold on to their money.
they must be criminals. Only criminals want privacy. I mean, you and
Exactly.
I, Efrat, we're not criminals. Whenever we go to the bathroom, we leave the door wide open because we don't want privacy.
Yeah, I think it's gonna blow up in their faces. I think people are gonna be smarter than what they think, because I mean, my hope is in the fact that people may be silly and stupid about their health. They may be stupid about their taxes and transportation restrictions, but they may not be that stupid about their money. I think that is something that everyone cares about. But I have a little bit of hope. Don't take it
But
away from me.
no. I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope about them. Right? If I look at the Soviet Union, this massive, overarching bureaucratic state, inflexible, a stultifying atmosphere. You kill off privacy. You kill off creativity. There's nothing creative about the Great Reset. You kill off entrepreneurship. People don't have any sort of freedom.
Yeah.
That system. However, the human spirit is not going to be encased. Even in places where you had the utmost repression, like in Pol Pot's under the Khmer Rouge or Nazi Germany, or in a prison system, you still have people working ways out how they can sideline and bypass the system. And something like this, which imprisons the entire population, there's going to be loads of people who are going to become criminals, right? Creative criminals, according to the government. If, for example, like the whole meat thing, I want to buy some meat, and you as the butcher say you can't, or my app says I can't, I've already had too much steak this week. I wish, right? So you can't purchase it anymore, and if I try, I might get penalized, or if you take it, you'll get penalized, or it just won't even let me. Okay,
Yeah,
so you're the butcher. I want to buy some steak. What will you take? Now, of course, people are going to resort to desperate measures, but you might say, well, what can you do, Rich? And I said, well, I don't know. I got some Bitcoin, I got some Pirate Chain, I got some Monero, I got some privacy crypto, right? Or how about even time? I'll give you some time to set you up with some crypto in return for a stake. Or how about, there'll be a barter economy. I
of
got silver,
course,
I got some, so that will bypass it.
of
People won't
course.
use the CBDCs, and they'll create all sorts of things, like in prisons using cigarettes or tins of mackerel.
Yes.
I mean, who wants so much mackerel? But
Yeah, that's where creativity comes in. The human creativity comes in. And I think humanity is unpredictable, and we're going to be surprised with what's happening when they put it down on us.
but
It's
also, sorry, Efra.
yeah. No, no, no. Go, 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 go.
Also, Efra, that's what's happening in the retail sector. On the other side, there's all these bloody hackers. They'll be hacking the system. They'll be looking for all sorts of ways to get in and everything, right? And then there's the how badly and poorly designed it will be. The leaks in the system, the breakdowns,
Hmm.
the way it won't
Hmm.
function, like the
Hmm.
NHS COVID injection. I don't call it a vaccine, by the way. The COVID injection app didn't
Jabs.
work,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
And then even where you could get free, absolutely free, when they were looking at rolling out the injection app in the UK, or you need to travel, you could get absolutely free an Android app that was just the front page that said you'd been injected, and it was the NHS app, and it allowed people to
Wow.
travel. And then if you click on it, it goes to the NHS website, but not properly. It just says, "Oh, the page is down." So people will come up with all sorts of ways.
Wow.
You
That's
cannot.
a great hack. I love it.
Yeah, and there'll be loads more of hacks that people will work
Yes.
out,
Yes. I
right?
agree with you. I
And
agree
also,
with you.
uh,
It's simply it's going to happen. I want to give you an example of Brazil where it's actually already starting with the CBDCs with the climate. So there's a bank called C6 in Brazil,
yeah,
which is the third or the fourth largest bank in Brazil. They have started a pilot for measuring their customers' carbon emissions on their banking app. And when you reach a certain quota, they call you up and they tell you that you've reached your carbon quota, and they ask you if you want to purchase new credits. Yeah, so my friend Dr. Simon Godek, which I interviewed for my podcast, he had it happen to him. They called him up from the bank and they told him you've reached your quota because he's using his C6 credit card to buy sushi, and apparently he bought too much food or something with his with his credit card, and he
what
said,
species? Insects?
yeah,
You should
yeah,
buy insects,
yeah, so they called him, and the lady says, you've reached your carbon quota. Do you want to buy more? And he goes, "Fuck off! Why are you asking me that?" And she said, "Because this is a new policy that we have, that you have a certain carbon credit, and you reach your credit, and maybe you wanna fill it up again." And he says, "Well, is it mandatory?" And she said, "Well, not at the moment. At the moment, it's not obligatory, but it may be in the future." And so they're working on this pilot. She allowed him to buy more. He obviously didn't buy. But once they have the CBDC out, just think how easy it is to not, they don't have to give you a call.
yeah,
C6 is the third or fourth largest bank in Brazil. Think of how many people are in Brazil.
yeah,
You are the third largest bank. You have millions and millions of customers. You're not going to start calling any one of them. You're just going to block them if they hit the quota,
yeah.
right? This is how easy it's going to be. So obviously, we have to find creative ways outside the system. And for those who are not exposed or not aware, and maybe a lot of I'm going to share this interview that we're doing right now with my followers, and maybe a lot of my followers are not aware that a whole new world exists out there that is not fiat, that is not the money system, the monetary system that you've been indoctrinated into and used to, and think that it's the only one that is safe and effective. There are other solutions that people should start looking into.
Yeah.
and trading in, and storing their value in, and keeping their privacy.
And in particular, and I cover this one a lot, and I'm one of the voluntary team, in particular, pirate chain, which
Pirate chain.
which is more secure and private than Monero, the most famous privacy coin, and more private than Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't really have, it's pseudonymous, it's not anonymous, but pirate chain is fully anonymous. So absolutely, people should look into that. At the very least, educate themselves about it,
Yeah.
and then look and see. Okay. Anything else, Efrat, you want to let us know?
If you're interested in this topic, CBDC, the loss of our financial freedom, and our independent sovereignty in life in general, then you can hear me speak at the Bitcoin conference on October 12th in Amsterdam. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to shoot some interviews as well while I'm there.
Great.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to
Very good.
interview Mark Moss, by the way, which is a great guy that I've been learning a lot from about money. So I'm really excited about that.
Very good. Very good. Well, I have the links to all your stuff in the description below. And I said this in the first video that we did, that the Great Reset will fail. It is so badly designed. And as a project, it's massive. It's absolutely massive, absolutely massive. But if I think of smaller projects that you and I have organized, they might have been big for us, right? But really, really tiny projects compared to the Great Reset. So for, organizing a holiday with 4 or 5 people. There's all sorts of breakdowns. Somebody's late for the taxi's day, or the suitcase doesn't arrive on time or something, or the hotel's overbooked, or it rains all day. There's all sorts of opportunities for breakdown with just that tiny little project. Now, you think the Great Reset is going to go smoothly? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? And then you think that people are just going to sit back and say, "Oh, carry on, no problem. I will." Yeah, sure. We will all roll over. No, are you kidding? Can't crush the human spirit.
Amen. Amen.
Efrat, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you talking and coming on my
Thank
channel.
you for having me, Rich. It
You're
was
so
a
welcome.
pleasure.
Comments, questions in the description below. And between now and I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with freedom and with joy. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto Efrat signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.